Welcome back, everyone. I'm glad you're joining us today. This is session 3. We've recorded 2 up to this point. The first one was an introduction, and you'll see all the links are going to be on this one page, so you can click on any of these. But the first session was a intro to what we're calling where do we go now? Where do we go now? Now that we find ourselves in this place, where do we go? What is our next step? And we've got an intro video, and then we've also covered the physical realm, what we need to do with our bodies and things that we can do to help us get through and be healthy and whole during the COVID-19 pandemic. And so today we're going to shift our focus to the relational realm. There's going to be at least 3 talks here. And as we talk through these, as I was talking to Wanda, these are going to hit home. Like, you're going to feel all of these in all the ways. And the good thing is you're going to feel it, and then you're going to be able to do something, and you're going to have a next step. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Wanda Morgan, and she's going to share with us today about the session 1 of kind of this relational realm. So the floor is yours, Wanda.
Okay, well, thanks, Kevin. It's good to be with you again today.
Yep.
I was thinking about the talks today, and that talking about how this is affecting our relationships just seemed like a big thing, and I'm glad we're doing 3 different sessions on it. But today I was thinking about how the stress of what we're going through now can have us just get so overwhelmed with information. Like, my husband and I are both academic kind of people, and we want to read the articles, we want to see the news, we want to know what's just happened, and then we have to talk about it. And since it's bad news, it can just get pretty overwhelming at times. My husband's actually read the article, the first French article about oxychloroquine in the journal. So, but what I think, even in normal times, we have a tendency to kind of do the complaining thing, to get together and talk about what went wrong at work or what my kid did yesterday. And it's not bad to share the not great stories with each other, but sometimes it just overwhelms our brain. So I wanted to talk about 2 things that we can do today that can kind of balance that and restore our brain. And one of them is just sharing joyful times together. The fact is that our brains actually develop better when we have joyful relationships. When you look at the little baby and you go, "Oh, you're so cute. Your toes are just so, I just love you." It helps them develop a stronger brain. It helps them, that sense of joy of being with each other, going back and forth, gives us a resilience. And people who have been raised like that actually have a higher resilience to trauma when they do have it. So someone who was raised in an abusive situation has trauma. It's more damaging than someone who was raised in a joyful situation. And so if we can have interactions where we go back and forth together, I'm experiencing joy being with you, I'm telling you my story, you're telling me your story, it actually helps us have better emotional regulation and just be calmer all around. So we're going to talk about, for a little while, how to tell joy stories. Because if your brain is in a not real good place, I can tell you a story about a joyful situation, and then I can actually help lead your brain from the sad or scared or upset place to a joyful place. So I'm going to actually start off by telling you a joy story. How does that sound?
Sounds good. Can you, before you do that, Wanda, can you share a little bit more? Because when you talk about the brain, you're actually talking about physically, there's things that are happening hardwired or that actually physically change in our brain when this happens. Can you say a little bit more about that before you kind of go into this? Because that would be helpful for everyone.
Well, what we found by looking at, the great ways we can use MRIs and stuff like that to look functionally at what the brain's doing. If a child is raised in a situation where there's no joy, there's a lot of anger, there's a lot of fear, their brain actually develops in smaller and it has less positive connections. And also, when we have hard times, if you have a parent that can lead you back to a joy place when you're upset, you're actually creating circuits to go from angry to joyful, or sad to joyful, or scared to joyful. So the actual wiring between neurons is more robust in a child that's had a lot of joy in their life. And that joy is not just, I got a new toy. The joy is, Mommy likes me. Daddy wants to be with me. you know, those feelings of being, you know how when you look at a baby that just kind of goes back and forth and it escalates as you're looking at each other. That is helpful for the brain to grow structurally better than it would if without it. And of course, the brain chemistry is better as well.
Yeah.
Good
So
news
you're
is,
actually saying these. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
you go ahead.
I was just going to say, so what you're actually talking about here with these joy stories is it's a way in which we can help rewire the circuits of our brain. Like there's things that we're doing that is creating new pathways so that we work better.
Absolutely, that's correct. And there's some things that if we miss the critical point, we can't fix. This is one of them that you actually can make better, for sure. Okay, so I want you to
Awesome.
just kind of look at how do you feel right now? Just kind of take a little assessment. And then I'm going to tell you this very simple joy story, which is about someone I don't even know. And then I want you to look at how you feel afterwards. So the story is basically, I'm not a computer person, but I spent a fair amount of time at the mall getting my computer worked on. And after it was over, I decided I'm going to treat myself. I'm going to go to Starbucks. I'm going to get a Frappuccino, and I'm going to just sit and enjoy it before I drive home. So I'm waiting to put my order in, and there's a mom with this little girl. She's like about 2.5 to 3. She's got this little pink ballerina dress on and a bow in her hair. And as mom's paying, she looks at me, smiles, and does a pirouette, and then comes around and looks at me again just with this grin. My heart just burst, particularly being a grandma, you know. And then she looked at me like, "Oh, you like that?" And then she did it again. Look at me. So this, my heart just like the grandma heart wanted to just pick her up and give her a big hug. Of course, that wouldn't be really appropriate, but
Correct.
so I just had this really cute, awesome little time with her. All the stress from doing the computer thing was all gone, and it was just gorgeous to have that 1 minute interaction with this little girl. Changed my way of where I was in the moment. And then one of the things it was like me to do at the moment would be to tell the mom, your daughter is just gorgeous. She's just been dancing for me behind your back. You didn't even know that. And so to see the mom's face light up and kind of be proud of her little girl. And then they walked off smiling and I got my Frappuccino. So how do you feel listening to that story, Kevin?
Yeah. My reaction was it was hard not to smile as I'm hearing you tell it.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was hard, and it was just very natural. It was very intuitive to go, that feels good. That feels good. And I was telling you before we got on the call, it's been a very heavy morning for lots of reasons around here. So that it felt like something kind of raised up in me from my heart kind of going upwards.
Yeah. So one of the fun things about it doesn't take very long. You can know that somebody's had a hard day and you can tell them something good about your day. You can also have this as a ritual around your dining room table. My daughter-in-law has her boys tell their highs and their lows at dinner. And she always, you know, spends more time talking about the highs at dinner usually, but other times she lets them talk more about their lows as well. But she's teaching them the language to talk about joy and to share that with each other. And that's always just so fun. Or just make it a practice to do it at night before you go to bed with your kids. You know? So kind of building it in as a habit is really helpful. So the other thing I wanted to shift to is talking about appreciation. You know, God talks so much about being thankful. And sometimes we sort of think he's a narcissist. It's like, be thankful because I'm big and important and you need to let me know how good I am. But come to find out, he's an amazing neuroscientist. Appreciation creates serotonin in our brain. And serotonin is the neurotransmitter that we don't have enough of when we have depression and anxiety. So when he says be thankful, he's saying, so you'll have more serotonin, so you'll feel good, so you'll work better. And, you know, there's several kinds of appreciation that we can do. We can do something that's looking at the trees and the flowers and how beautiful it is. Or we can appreciate, Kevin, thank you so much for working hard to set up these videos. Or we can say, Kevin, I really appreciate that you're such a kind and helpful and supportive man. There are different levels of that depending on kind of where we are with the relationship, but they feed our soul to say them. And then they also feel the soul of the person that we're sharing them with. So I have made habits of appreciating people that I don't know, and I've almost become addicted to it. One example is I fly a fair amount, get off the airplane, go into the bathroom at the airport, and there's almost always someone in there cleaning the bathroom. In Europe, there are even men in the women's bathroom cleaning the bathroom. We have a different culture there. And I'll just stop and tell them, thank you so much for doing such a good job of cleaning this bathroom. It's so great to get off that plane for a 4-hour flight and come in here, and it's just awesome. And their face is like puzzled. Oh, really? And to just see their eyes light up that someone saw me, appreciated me. But I love giving them that gift, but I'm almost addicted to doing it myself. It feels so good to do that. Or to just thank the waitress. And I tell people often, I did your job. I know it's hard. Thank you so much for the way you helped our family enjoy our time together. It's so-and-so's birthday, or I haven't seen her in a year. Thank you, you made it really special. So it's almost come to feel selfish to appreciate people, And one of the things you might think about is just, what does it feel like when you're appreciating things in your body? It feels happy, peaceful, sort of settled, calmer. Could feel more energized, or it could feel calmer depending on what you're appreciating. But those are really good places to try to find yourself. So it doesn't have to be a long thing. It doesn't have to be an involved thing. Just do it. But you will come away from appreciation times that really bless your heart as much as the people you're around. And I know there's a lot of appreciation going on now, like in the stores, where they're thanking the people for working, and thanking the healthcare people, I thanked my garbage man the other day. But that's kind of a piece of the appreciation thing. It's easy.
Could you speak a little bit? I didn't warn you about this one, but tell me how that translates, because I can picture that really easy with all those people that you're saying that about. Where appreciation becomes a little bit more of a struggle are the people we live with all the time, because it seems like there's a different thing that goes on there. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Sure. Sometimes it becomes kind of educating ourselves. Letting ourselves actually notice what blesses us, what's important. Like, gosh, I didn't cook dinner tonight. You did. I'm sitting here eating this food. Thank you for doing that. Or maybe it's you watched your spouse handle your child particularly well in a difficult situation. The kid's throwing a fit and they stayed calm. And later on, it's like, it was wonderful the way when, Liam was giving you such a hard time that you just stayed calm and was with him. That inspires me to do it better myself. Or just anything. Thanks for bringing the paper in when it was snowing. I didn't have to put my shoes on and go out and get it. So just kind of allowing yourself to see the blessings in your life, and then speak that how much they bring those blessings. And I think if you can ask God even to remind you, we often consider it a responsibility in some way to tell God, thank you. That's a good spiritual thing to do. But maybe he could add on to that and remind me, Holy Spirit, when Sarah Beth really, really blesses me. Remind me to tell her. I think he would do that.
Yeah.
Pretty good at that.
Yeah. What's interesting as you talk, Wanda, is that thinking about the first one, moving from the physical realm to this, the paying attention to some things in the physical realm, exercise, movement, being outside, helps create some space for us to be aware, because awareness is one of those things right now with talking about these joy stories and appreciation, that there's almost we have to be aware, looking, ready to perceive something. And that's something we can nurture, is what I'm getting at.
It's a skill we can grow,
Yeah.
We can do them at the same time. We can be walking in the woods and see a beautiful tree and that is a gorgeous tree. Thank you, God, for making that for me. Or a little spring flower coming up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it can become a habit that flows out of us on a regular basis, or complaining can become a habit that flows out of us on a regular basis. And the quality of our life
Correct.
will make a big difference. And that doesn't mean you ignore things that are bad. That's not what we're talking about. So I'd like
Correct.
to give people a little bit of homework, maybe
Go
to
for it.
just somewhere today and every day during this crisis, you tell at least one person something you appreciate about who they are or what they did. And you just do the kind of the old saying, take time to smell the roses. Something that gives you joy. I love flowers, and I have a mama goose sitting out. There's a pond behind my condo, a mama goose sitting out there on her 4 eggs. So I will just go out there and watch her sit there for a few minutes, and it calms me. And if I happen to catch her when she's rolling the eggs around or something like that, it's just like, that's just amazing.
Yeah.
So find something like that you can do every day. And then also try to tell someone a joy story sometime during your day. And maybe help them learn to do that back. Okay?
Yeah. Awesome. So homework, find something that brings you joy and be aware of it. And 2, find someone and tell them a joy story every day. Every day.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. What's really interesting is that in the coaching I've done for the last 6 years, one of the primary things that it is built on is we start every meeting with what we call glory sightings, like where we have seen God move. And one of the things of doing that for 6 years with every group, every time we meet, is that it completely changes the atmosphere in the room, not just people's mood. It's almost as if something changes in the atmosphere of the room when we tell those places that we see God's glory, where we see joy, where we've seen, something good happen around us. It actually changes the atmosphere. So it's interesting because I just made that connection as you were talking, that I've seen this work, called it by a different name, but it is the same concept.
Well, it's interesting because the next video we're going to do, I'm going to tell you what changes in your brain when you do that.
That's awesome. And
Yep.
a great tease for the next video. So thank you again, Wanda. And we're going to jump off here for now. And then this is, again, session 3. And then I'll be looking for session 4 coming up, where we take the next step in the relational realm.
Yep.
We will see you then.
Okay.
Have a good day. Bye.